I am the quintessential minority. Now, I don't know if that is true statistically, but I belong to several groups that are considered minorities in this Western society in which I live. Here I am, a black, short, left handed female wearing glasses. I could also add of a certain age and from the third world, but geez, I might be too depressed to go on. And yes, I know you would prefer to call this a developing country, but honestly, I don't care. Go apply for a US or Canadian visitor's visa, then come back and tell me we aren't third world. But I digress. Anyway, yes, folks, in this year of our Lord 2022, women are still fighting for equality all over the world. And in some countries that I will not mention, but if you say the name right, I might whistle, they seem to be going in the opposite direction. But you know, we don't really deal with anything too serious in this space because the world is so serious already. So I'm going to leave that alone. Same for being black. I think we all know the challenges of trying to live as a black woman in the world. So I'm going to move on to the ones that I can talk about without getting angry and bitter. So, yes, I'm short. Funny thing is, I didn't know I was short until I went to university. You see, I come from a family with lots of very short women, at least on my mom's side. My mom was about 5'2", and if my grandmother got up to 5 feet at all, I would be very surprised. So at 5'4", I thought I was pretty stately, maybe even above average. People also tell me that I look taller than I am. I think it's my imposing personality. Stop that snickering right now. Anyway, imagine my shock when I got to university and found that most of these damn Canadian women were between 5'6" and 5'10". All of a sudden, I was feeling like a character from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The girl who was to become my best friend, and who I should mention still gets me better than almost anyone I've ever met, was about 5'8". So I spent a lot of time looking up. I know that some of you are thinking, what's the problem with being short? Men like short women. Well, that may be so, but let me tell you, if you ever find yourself driving west into the sun on an afternoon and you put the visor in your car down and it makes absolutely no difference, you understand that the world was designed for taller people. When I was young, I longed to be one of those long, willowy creatures whose legs went on forever, who look good wearing anything. But these days, I would be happy if I could just reach things on top shelves without having to call my giant son to help me. It would help if he didn't give me that "do you people even have a purpose in the world" look every time. Then there's the left-handed thing. I guess we should just be glad they're no longer burning us at the stake as witches who are consorting with the devil. But the world still isn't exactly designed with us in mind. We look so awkward doing many of the things that the right-handers take for granted. My mother told me when she was a child, teachers would insist on making left-handers learn to write with their right hands, or else licks. Can you imagine? I would have been a regular beat E, for sure, because the only thing I could do well with my right hand is wear watches and rings. Luckily, no one writes with fountain pens anymore. Or writes at all, for that matter. But when I was a child, you could tell a left-hander by the fact that the side of their left hand was always covered in ink, because your hand had to move across what you had already written, unless, of course, you were one of those left-handers who writes upside down. Now, I get why they do that. And I've even done it a couple of times when making quick notes. But let's be honest, how weird does that look? It's getting better for us, but still, so many things in this world are designed for people who approach things from the right. Despite that, so many important and influential people throughout the ages have been left-handed. Yes, Google it. I'm not one of them, but just saying, the fact that there are so many left-handers making history just shows that you can't keep a good left-hander down. And then we have the spectacles. I got them when I was 10, right after Common Entrance. Yes, Common Entrance. Did you not see the woman of a certain age line at the top? The story of how I ended up wearing glasses is kind of funny though. My mother says it's because I hit my head on a rock, well, my face really, and changed the shape of my cornea as a result. We were playing Star Trek at the beach, and my brothers actually let me be Captain Kirk. Now believe me, that never happened. Anyway, we were climbing up these rocks because the sea was poisonous, and I slipped and was going to fall into the water. So I went forward instead and ended up cutting a deep gash just above my eyelid on a jagged rock. Why did I do that, you ask? Did you not hear me say that the sea was poisonous? Jeez, try to keep up. I can still hear my mother saying, well, shouting really, "You couldn't stop playing the game for 1 minute?" Hey, I was captain. Who would lead my men if I fell into the poisonous sea? Of course, once blood started flowing, my men ran away and left me. So I had to start wearing glasses. I lost several pairs in the early days before I really got the hang of it. I sat on one. Another pair of metal frames were destroyed when I got hit in the face with a ball while playing football. I think that's why, when in my mid teens, I mentioned the possibility of contacts, which were pretty expensive in those days. My mother just laughed and walked away. Several of my friends had invested in them, and to be honest, had a variety of horror stories to tell of them drying out and slipping into that space between the lower lid and the eye. Ouch! Losing them on the dressing table where they remained stuck to a perfume bottle for days before being found, waking up hungover and putting two in one eye while searching frantically for the other one. The stories went on and on. So I stuck with my spectacles, and my mother got me one of those horrible chains to wear so I wouldn't lose them. In those days, it was not fashionable to wear glasses the way it can be now. You know the old saying, men don't make passes at girls who wear glasses. You don't know it? Lord, you are young. Everyone thought they made you look bookish and nerdy, and you could never wear cool sunglasses at the beach. You know that everyone looks better in sunglasses, right? It's a scientific fact. Unless they were one of the ones who bought into the whole sexy librarian fantasy thing. In a big way, men looked past women in glasses. And when I look back at the frames that we wore, I have to say, I kind of get it. I did okay though, and at least I could see where I was going. These days, I'm just shy of the dog and white cane, so I'm glad for my glasses. Of course, now that there are all sorts of funky frames that make people almost want to have poor eyesight, I no longer care that much. Putting on eye makeup is a challenge though, very hit and miss. I apply eyeliner to my right eye completely blind. Is the line straight or crooked? Is it wide or narrow? Do I have a cat eye? Who the hell knows? I'm pretty sure you can tell by the results too. But so far, everyone has been too polite to say. So here I am. There are those who think I'm somewhat of an underachiever. Yeah, you, I'm talking about you. But the truth is, when you consider all of my many challenges, I've done pretty well. At least that's what I tell myself in the dark days, anyway. Thanks again for listening to my ramblings. I hope they gave you a chuckle. Go on, share it with your friends. I'm sure they'll forgive you eventually. Until next time, just saying.